Greetings, Saints, and thank you so much for tuning in to the Barbara Dean Franklin Show. I am your host, Barbara Dean Franklin, and today I have the awesome pleasure of sitting with my girlfriend, Darlene Dickson. How are you, Darlene?
I'm great. How are you?
I am wonderful. Well, Darlene and I are old friends from AT&T.
Where else?
It seems like the majority of my guests have worked with me. We have history together. We've been trained by the best, you know.
Yes.
We worked hard. We know what it is to work hard. And today, the reason that I have Darlene on the show is Darlene is a publisher. You publish books, Manifold Grace Publishing House.
Yes.
Darlene has had the awesome pleasure, all of these books have been published by you.
Yes.
And this particular book, I'm I'm kind of biased because this is The Watchman by Javon Bertrand. And anybody that has been following me on the show saw Javon on the show with me, and he had this book in him, but it hadn't been published yet. And I hooked him up with Darlene, and now he has a published awesome product that is out there for sale. But there are other books that Darlene has published, and you're doing a wonderful job. I'm going to talk a little bit about Manifold Grace Publishing House. You say your mandate is a gift from God. Your purpose is to provide a vehicle for other authors to get their testimony stories and inspirational messages published. You're born again believers, but you will publish work not limited to Christian subject. So in addition to Christian or spiritual topics, bring us your cookbooks, books on cars, novels, etc. You will only reject work that's not of an inspirational, uplifting, redemptive, or positive nature.
Absolutely.
That right there sounds good. To say a little bit about Darlene, you are a published author yourself.
Yes.
You worked for 36 years in customer service at AT&T. You have 2 children. Your son James is currently a writer in Ann Arbor, and your daughter Jessica recently received a master's degree in the School of Counseling from University of Central Florida, and they both attended the University of Michigan.
Yes.
Okay, and her book, your book, 5 Revelations, Improve Your Relationship with God, was your debut publication. And at AT&T, you authored a lot of training materials and other materials covered under intellectual property agreements with AT&T. So you were an instructor, process engineer, and you were responsible for developing, negotiating, documenting processes to be used in customer service. So first I want to thank you for that, because at AT&T, I had a call center, and customer service, that was my forte. You know? So we had a lot of training that was good that we used for customer service. But one thing that I always said to my service reps was, take the information that they give you here, use it to be the best person that you could be on the job, but also let it spill over into your personal lives to make you the best person that you can be in life. So
absolutely,
again, I thank you. So Darlene, the first thing that I wanted to ask you is, when did you know that you wanted to be a publisher? So was it your book first and then the publishing, or how did this happen?
Well, funny story. I didn't know I wanted to be a publisher. I thought I was a writer. And I am a writer. And I published my first book in 2007. But when I retired, I had 36 years worth of AT&T stuff I had accumulated that I had to bring home with me. And going through that, I found information that I had started researching about the publishing industry from as far back as 1997.
Wow.
And then again, after I published my book, there it was again. I had started accumulating this same information. And then while going through breast cancer, beating breast cancer, the Lord was speaking to me again about a publishing company. And I said, well, God, if this is what you want me to do, I need to have a name for it. And I went to our normal Wednesday night Bible class, and my pastor was preaching, and she said they had a bookstore called Manifold Wisdom something. And I heard that word manifold, and which is like tens of thousands, And I thought about that, and I said, grace, His grace is just been uncountable in my life. And so it stuck.
Okay.
And when I had a name, I knew that it was a baby that I was to bring forth.
All right, right. Now, so we were just talking earlier, and you shared that you saw the story with Kimberly Harris, who is a good friend of ours that was here, and that is a breast cancer survivor. I never knew that you were a breast cancer survivor as well. So I just thank God for you. I thank God that, you know, He puts people in our paths. You know, when we cross paths, it's not on, you know, it's not by chance. It's definitely on purpose that our paths cross. Because although we knew each other from AT&T, and, you know, I believe that it was on Facebook, you know, and people talk about Facebook, but Facebook is a great networking tool. Because I believe that it was on Facebook that I saw you were having you were doing a class on writing a book, you know, publishing your book at the Retford Library. So I attended that class, and I had, you know, such a good time. And the way that you taught, you know, I guess you being a trainer, you know, you already had that, you know, there, standing there. And at that time you were with you have another young lady. Did she do the graphic designs, or it was?
Well, she has a publishing company also.
Okay.
And so we collaborated to do the workshop.
Okay. Yeah, so there was a really a great workshop. So now you write your book, you know, God has given you a name, Manifold Grace Publishing. And so so God has given you a name. You are going to become a publisher. What's the first thing you do? I mean,
I go, really, me? God, are you sure? And I pulled all that old research that I had already done, but decided that I didn't have time to do it, and it's too much, and this is just a figment of my imagination. This is not God speaking to me. And once I got over myself, I actually began to hear Him. And you talked about, we call them destiny intersections. A couple that adopted me as the godmother for their children, who I met when I was singing in the choir. Turns out he was a graphic artist, and so he helped me put my website together, and he helped me design book covers, and everything that I needed. Somehow, by chance,
exactly,
by destiny, by purpose, that person appeared to help me learn what I need to know. And of course, I had to do my own study.
Exactly.
You know, I had to do my due diligence.
Right.
And learn how to do some things.
Okay. And it's amazing because at home I have all of these books that, you know, that I've purchased and maybe never read. And I always know that it's for such a time as this. You never know, but whenever I need something, I could go right to that library and pick out something that I need. And I ask myself during that time, like, why are you buying this book? What, you know, really what it is for? But I've learned that, you know, what God has for you, it is definitely for you.
Amen.
So, to the person that has a book in them, like, what is some of the advice that, I mean, because I think, you know, we always think that we have to come with a 745-page manifold or all of this writing that we have to do. What is some of the advice that you would give someone who really has a book in them? What would be the first thing that you would tell them to do?
Start with really honing in on your concept for your book.
Okay.
What is it you want to talk about, and what is it you want to say, and then make an outline.
Okay.
You have to start with an outline. And people hate that, you know, people that have been to school, oh God, I hate making outlines, you know.
Yes.
But and so I say, well, think of it as a table of contents then. Envision your book. Envision the cover. Go in Barnes & Noble and see where your book would sit on a shelf.
All right.
So you begin to get a vision of it, and then now that you have that vision, start putting your words together. What are you going to tell? And then in what order are you going to tell it?
Right.
And this is where the outline or the table of contents comes in handy. It helps you stay focused, be organized, and it makes sure that you say everything you need to say.
Right.
People do ask about that. They think they have to have so many. I've heard people say, well, somebody said you need 10 chapters and, 10 pages per chapter. I believe that your book is the size it is when you're done saying what you have to say.
Okay. All right.
And so that's the important factor. If you're trying to hit a number, again, that's the wrong purpose.
Right.
make sure that you've said it and said it well
Exactly.
and completely.
Exactly. It's just very important that when you go to write a book, that the book says something. You're not writing a book just to write a book.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that is a couple of things. I do writers' workshops also, and so one of the things that several things that, out of what you just said, are very important to me and important to authors or people who want to write books.
Okay.
And one is you do have to tell the whole story, and you do have to be honest. Because people can tell, and if they're reading your book and it's not hitting the honesty quotient in them, they say, okay, I'm going to read you later.
Exactly.
And they become a coaster or, fall behind the back of the couch, those kind of things. And that's not what we want. So you want to tell your story, and you want someone else to benefit from what you've experienced.
Yeah.
Writing it just because something happened to you and you need to tell somebody is not enough of a reason.
Okay.
You have to have some redemptive qualities about it, because people want happy endings. And people also want to be encouraged and inspired by what they're reading. And I believe that there's a way to tell your story so that you strip, but not naked.
Amen. Amen. I like that. Strip, but not naked. I definitely, that right there is good.
Yeah.
That is good. And I hear you say finances, but I'm just tell my kids, I'm not leaving y'all nothing. I'm just joking. Oh, no, really. But now getting back to Manifold Grace, I always say this, and people know, I know that sitting with you, I know you. I know that everything you do is going to be with integrity. It's going to be with character. The people own the right to their books. They don't have to worry. You hear a lot of times about people writing a book and you publish it, but the book is not yours anymore. Tell me a little bit about that. How is that?
The business of books. And that was part of the first workshop that we did that you attended. It's true. Traditional publishers pay you to write a book is in effect what happens, if you can get into one.
Okay.
To even get into a traditional publisher, you need to have an agent.
Okay.
And that agent, so you audition yourself and your work for the agent. The agent now goes out to sell you to a publisher.
Okay.
The publisher is going to put substantial money into your project. They're going to market you, but they also are going to have a say in what you've written and how you've said it.
Okay.
And they're going to own the rights to it. So they're paying you for your rights. And
so they pay you up front?
Yes, they give you an advance.
Okay. But you sell the book, and say you sell millions, do you still get paid every time?
You get royalties.
Okay, okay.
Royalties are typically between 15, maybe 20% of total sales.
Okay. So just being a publisher, and I mean, this is just your opinion, what's the benefit of this? Is what you do, is this called more self-publishing than being with
I am a self-publishing company.
Okay.
So I help people pay to publish, basically.
Okay.
And that's really the world. Even the traditional publishers all have self-publishing houses.
Okay.
So it's kind of a new industry. The industry is evolving and changing.
Okay.
There are places where you can go and you can step by step walk through doing it. I'm the professional who will do it for people who don't have that desire to, because there's a lot of details and a lot of things that you need to take into account if you're going to publish, just from the business aspect of it. You think once you've written a book, man, no, you're not done anything. You've done step one.
Okay.
And so some of the other steps we help people do.
And that's good. And again, I know that what you say you're going to do, you will do. You do a lot of research. You find, you just the right niche for the people. So you say is this your design, or the guy who helps you designs the cover, or do they come with their own cover? You know what I'm saying? Do they have their own ideas for a picture?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes they do.
Okay.
Actually, Javon had his cover drawn.
Yes, I remember that. Yes.
So he came to me with his own cover.
Okay.
I generally can have a concept, will have a concept based on what I know the book is about. and we try to match those up. If the author has ideas, we try to, well, we don't try to, it is our purpose to make that idea happen.
Right.
And I rely on the graphic artist to do that.
Okay, that's really good. So if somebody has a book in them and they just have a title of their book and they've written the book, so you can come up with that catchy cover that will, you know, when I look at this, The Heart of a Servant, you know, and I see that heart, you know, I want to read that book, you know. Oh, as a matter of fact, is this book for sale? Because, you know, I'm definitely a servant.
Why, yes, I carry all of my author's work for sale.
Okay. I definitely think I would like to pick this book up, The Heart of a Servant, because that is definitely my heart. I'm here to serve, so I would definitely like to read that book.
Amen.
Yes. So, Darlene, if, again, there's somebody out here and they have a book in them and they want to write this book and they just don't know how to start. If they, you know, they've struggled with it, you know, maybe they've started writing, they put it down, they started writing, they put it down. What do you say to that person who is struggling with trying to get their words on paper to be a blessing, first to release it from themselves and then to bless somebody else?
You said it right there. When you begin to write your story, you do release it. You release yourself from it. And it really is cathartic. You hear people talking about it all the time. Man, once I told that story, I felt good. I felt free, and you do. Because we all have things inside of us that once we put them on paper, we give air to them, and they begin to breathe on their own, then they no longer breathe inside of us. And so we've set them free, and our words go out there to others who are maybe dealing with the things that we write about to help them. And you know, Nike, just get started. Now, I do story consultation also. So I will meet with people and, you know, I talk with them, kind of interview them, find out what their book is about and kind of do a rough little outline for them. Because people think it's really difficult, but it's not. It's really common sense. You know, we've read books. So when you read a book, you know what things you like and what things you don't like. You know the kind of order. Like if you start at one place and you finish at a place, and you, Kevin, showed me how you got there, I'm like, what am I reading?
What is that? Yes, exactly.
You know? So we try to just bring that out in people. You can do this. You just got to get started. Have a plan. Another one of my workshop isms is to have a GPA.
All right. What's that?
Have a goal. Why am I writing this book? You touched on that earlier. You want to inspire someone. You want to inform someone, whatever. You have a plan. When am I going to write? I suggest always, in the vein of the no procrastination zone, that you set up a time to write. Make it part of your schedule. My wonderful son, who I referenced before, told me when I was writing my book, and he called, "Ma, how's it going?" "Oh, I just don't have time." And what he said to me was, "Ma, you got an hour every day to write." And I kind of gave him that look. And he said, "Just don't watch Law and Order." And I said, well, that college education is paying off there, isn't it, son? But we do. If it is a project, especially if God has put something on our hearts, we need to be obedient.
Yes, we do.
Because if you ain't writing that book, you're disobedient. And so we really need to make it a priority. And you do that by planning. It's not magical. It's not mystical. It's simple. Make some time for it. Set aside time, place, and space. And maybe it's an hour every night. Maybe it's 3 hours on Saturday. Maybe it's, a Tuesday once a month. Whatever you can work with.
Make it happen.
Fit it in your schedule. And then get started.
So that's G and P. What's the A?
Oh, I'm sorry, audience. You have to know who you're writing to. I ask my students, okay, who are you writing this book for? Everybody. Well, yeah, we want everybody to buy the book, but who are you writing it for? Who is going to benefit from it? Who will relate to what you're writing? And once you envision that person, then you know how to speak. You know what language to speak. We have to be careful with jargon, but if you're writing a book for medical students, it's going to be full of jargon.
Exactly.
So you have to know who you're speaking to.
Okay.
And so that you're speaking the language that they will relate to.
Right. I think the information that your son gave you is really good because too funny. I purchased I have a stationary bike that I got for my 35 years with AT&T.
I did too.
Did you? Did you ride yours? Okay. So anyway, I bought this little iFit card to go inside of it. And so I'm riding along on the little card and hi, this is Sharon, I'm your iFit instructor, and you could do anything for 1 minute, and so, even if I just wrote something for a minute, wrote something for an hour, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and that made sense to me, although I did do 30 minutes one time, a minute at a time, you could do anything for 1 minute. So yes, that's good information to just start somewhere and just to do it, so that really is some good information. So again, Darlene, I want you to tell the people how they can contact you if they wanted to get some consultation, if they wanted more information about Manifold Grace. First, give them your website.
My website is manifoldgracepublishinghouse.com, and I can be reached at email. As a matter of fact, if you go on the site, there's a link to contact me, but my email address is darlene@mgph.org.
Okay.
And of course, call me, 248-799-9771.
All right. Well, I want to thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come on the show with me. I'm going to keep this book off of here on this side because I definitely want to purchase that book from you. It's always a pleasure whenever I'm in your presence. I want to thank you on behalf of Javon. I know he's thanked you already, but it's just really good. Great. Again, when God put people in your path that can be a blessing to you and to others as well. So I know that the hand of God is all over Manifold Grace Publishing Company.
Amen.
And I know that you're going to do great things. I can't wait until one day I'm on the show holding up Life After the Crack of Dawn. Exactly.
I look forward to that.
Yes, I will definitely be getting with you real soon. I'm not going to have this show and you talk about procrastinators and I continue to procrastinate on getting that book out. So today I am going to end my show as I always do to the public, to the people who watch this show weekly. I'm hoping that the information that is coming to you is a blessing to you. Definitely, if you have a book in you, if you have a story to tell, definitely get on the Manifold Grace website and get that information off from Darlene. And again, I thank you for watching this show, for tuning in each and every week. And I will end the show as I always do, from my beating heart to your beating heart. I love you. You understand.